What's up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with you on the Meltdown Radio podcast with another edition of the Species Spotlight, where I go and I talk about the tarantula hobby a little bit and give you an idea of some of the particular species I have in my own collection, to talk a little bit about them as well, share some videos, give you information on said tarantulas. This time around, I'm doing the Poecilotheria, which I know I butchered the name, Metallica. It's part of the Poeci class, a Poeci ornamental class, where there's many different species of this. And I've talked about before with some of the other ones in the same genus that different bandits on their legs are able to tell between the regalis or the Mysore or whatever. Those are two other ones I have, is the Mysore and regalis as well. But I now have Metallica as well. A little about 2 or 3 inch one now. They are very fast growers. And they're also called by the common name of Gooty Sapphire Ornamental, Metallic Blue Ornamental, and the Peacock Parachute Spider. They're an arboreal species, climbing trees. Their enclosures are going to be tall and thin and have plenty of airflow when you have them in captivity or in your hobby. They are from Southeast India and very beautiful. They're one of the more sought after species of the Poeci class, just because they're so beautifully colored and all that. So I'm going to show you a few pictures of mine. Athena, I've called her. Don't know if she's a female yet, but you can kind of see her there a little bit and by her hidey hole. And again, some more there. Of course, this is through the glass, so it's a little bit harder just because she is very fast. So one thing that Ryan will talk about when I show you the video from the Tarantula Collective is they're just mega fast. Whenever I go to feed her, she's like scurrying around, trying to hide or just trying to get around. And so there's another one a little bit closer, but yeah, so very beautiful spider. They can get pretty big, about the size of your hand. The two other ones I have are males, the Mysore and regalis, and they're enormous for their size. So even the female would be about as big, but they're just thicker, but let's go ahead and check out the video from the Tarantula Collective, and they're going to break down a little bit more information on the Poeci of Metallica.
Poecilotheria Metallica, known throughout the hobby as the Gooty Sapphire Ornamental, the Metallic Blue Tarantula, and the Peacock Parachute Spider, is an old-world arboreal tarantula that has a very interesting history. This species was initially described by the arachnologist Pocock in 1899 in the town of Gooty, India, which is where the common name derives. This tea was lost to science and time until it was rediscovered in 2001 in the Kadapa and Chittor districts of Andhra Pradesh, which is far from the original location.
It's funny how they didn't really see this spider for a very long time until 2001. So we're talking a little over 20 years ago. So really, when you think about how long these spiders have probably been around, to have gone that long before being rediscovered is pretty crazy.
It was first described over 100 years earlier. Some theories suggest that the species was accidentally transported to the original location where Pocock found it by the spider stowing away on a train or being mistakenly transported from its endemic location to Gooty, because the spider hid away in boxes. When this tea was originally introduced into the hobby years ago, slings were selling for as much as $500 to $600 a piece. But as more people have bred them successfully, especially in Europe and the US, there are many more available, and the prices drop dramatically, as you can now purchase a 1-inch sling for around $75. This is a fast-growing tarantula, and females can reach a size of about 6 inches and live around 12 years, while males are a little smaller and only live for about 4 years. Being an old-world tarantula, this species does not have urticating hairs, but is very fast and has a powerful venom that causes moderate to severe pain, and long-lasting local and generalized muscle cramps, accelerated heart rate, sweating, nausea, and headache. Of all the Poecilotheria, this species seems to be the least offensive, and though
that, yes or no? again, tarantulas have their own kind of identity and individualism, which is interesting considering, because they don't really have any emotions or anything, but they do have their own very behavior styles. Mine, she doesn't do it often, but I had one moment where my hand was just kind of by the side of the enclosure and she sprang up, which kind of surprised me because she is very skittish for the most part, but at that particular moment, like for whatever reason, she sprang up like an OBT would, just from me being by the enclosure. So it could have been I just caught her on a bad day and she just happened to be like kind of irritated, because normally every time I go into her enclosure to feed her or whatever, she's kind of hiding in her little web area in the bark. But that one particular day, I was kind of surprised because that had been the first time. Like my other pokies, the bigger ones, the males, they just run. They don't get very defensive. Now, granted, I'm not trying to, transfer them anywhere or anything like that. So I haven't really had a moment where I've annoyed them to the point of being, defensive or anything. But mine, with her size being smaller, if she's a female, she could be a male, but either way, I just call her she for now. But she was kind of defensive, and which was kind of shocking to me considering, because they're usually pretty skittish and just go run away.
They are not as prone to show a threat pose and strike as some other species. As far as feeding, I feed my spiderlings under an inch small crickets and pre-kill any prey that is near the size of the spiderling. I feed them about one prey item twice a week and am sure to remove any uneaten prey at least 24 hours later. I don't want to leave any prey wandering around the enclosure if the tarantula decides to molt. As slings, they have more of a gray color, though some of the pattern may be visible. But they are extremely fast and will run laps around the enclosure if you spook them, which can make feeding time a little stressful. Always have a catch cup handy anytime you are opening their enclosure. Other than its bright blue color, the species is also unique as it has been found to be successfully kept communally. There are a lot of keepers in the...
That's kind of surprising too, because to date, I've heard that you can keep certain species together, but it usually doesn't happen a lot. But outside of the Balfouri, which they actually thrive in communals. So I'd be curious to see how the sapphires handle themselves in groups, because to me that's something that you don't just see really often with a lot of other tarantulas. Excuse me.
Hobby, some here on YouTube, that currently have P. Metallica communal setups that are thriving. So if one fast, venomous, beautiful blue tarantula isn't enough for you, you can have 5 or 10 of them all in one enclosure.
So yeah, so that's kind of interesting with the communal aspect of the Metallica, which as fast as they are, I don't know if I really want to deal with it. Even though Balfouri are pretty quick, I don't know if I really want to mess with 10 Metallicas. They'd be all over the place and they like to run. So I've already had my share of runners on me. I've lost one of my Balfouri before. Found it. It did show up and we got it, but my bigger Mexican red leg got out at one point, but she was easy to find. Now I currently have an electric blue somewhere in the house, but I'll find her. It's a smaller one, but or either that or just die, whatever. But I'm not too worried about it. Obviously it's an old world, so it can be a little eerie. But for the most part, because of how she is, she's generally a big webber and will hide more than try to go scoping out anywhere. But eventually, hopefully I'll find her. If not, some people said, I know one person I bought an enclosure from, she said that one of her spiders got out and they didn't see it for 6 months. And then one day it just showed up. So, that's kind of how it goes. I've heard that story a lot through people who ever got a spider that got out or whatever. But, and that's the other thing too, I will mention is that my spider, the electric blue, got out of an enclosure that was really crappy. So when I tell you this, I'm not trying to diss anybody or like, people that create their own enclosures. Those plastic ones with the rubber bands or whatever it is, it ties them all together. They look cool, and they seem like, because they're about yay big, and they seem like they'd be great for, small to medium spiders. But because of how difficult it is once you put soil and stuff in there, it's too clunky, it's too crappy. And like, for whatever reason, the one I have has like a drawer, which makes no sense. And so when it doesn't seal properly, because it's done by a magnet, if it doesn't seal properly, it leaves a space. And so if you have a spider that's small enough, it will get out. Now, that's not how mine got out. Mine got out because as I put the top back on, it didn't seal right. So it left like a gap. So that's how the electric blue got out. And so I'm just kind of aggravated because I don't really like these. I only have 2 of them. They weren't that expensive, but from now on, I'm just sticking. Even if I have to do those like cheesy ones you get from PetSmart, the plastic ones, like they're still better than that fucking shit that I was using, because it's just a pain in the ass. Just a pain in the fucking ass. And I can't recommend them. They're just terrible. Like, they're not very well designed at all. But anyway, enough of the rant. So this was the Gooty Sapphire, the very beautiful blue ornamental. I love this. This is one of these spiders I've kind of like always wanted outside of the Venezuelan sun tiger and stuff like that. So I'm up to about 28 or 29 different species. Some have died off, some of the males and stuff. I did have a female pink toe. I'm finding that this is the second pink toe I've had die. Now, they don't die like right away, but apparently like it's trickier to keep them alive. And so it gets a little frustrating because they are very pretty spiders and they're very docile. But yeah, they're just a pain in the fucking ass to keep because I guess you got to keep the humidity at a certain point. I have like good airflow in my enclosure. But she went to go molt and I didn't see her for a long time. I try not to bother them, obviously. And then when I checked on her, she had molted, but then dried out. And even though there was water and stuff in there, she just didn't last. So I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know if it was a bad molt or what. But when I had my male first, like way back, I noticed that when he molted, he was getting sluggish. And even though I had water bowl in there, like, everything was there, but what I noticed was, and I don't know if I hate to say pink toes are stupid, but they kind of are, because they don't really go seek out water much, whereas some of my other spiders will. And they usually tell you that spiders will go and find water because that's what they need to live. But pink toes, they don't seem to really go looking for water. So I have to, in order to save him initially, I sprayed the sides with misty water and he started lapping it up. And then I put the dish closer to him, to which he did go and drink and he survived. But, he lasted a couple of years because he's a male and then died. The female, because she was behind a bark, I just, she's in a tube, so I couldn't really see what was going on. And that becomes a problem. So I don't know exactly the major trick to keeping them alive, at least longer, because like I did have her for a year or two. So I was kind of disappointed because I want to keep my females as long as possible, obviously. But it was just tricky, man. Like, I don't know, like it's a real weird thing with them. That's why I'm not really jumping at getting a versicolor, because they're very beautiful too. But they're also tricky to keep alive. So I've been holding off on those until I probably have a better place, better airflow or whatever, because I've had to reset up my closet space so I can give them more airflow in there. But for the most part, all the other ones are doing fine. I don't have any problem with the pokies or anything like that. It's just pink toes, for whatever fucking reason. Just, they really struggle. But anyway, that is the Poecilotheria Metallica. Let me know your comments. Do you have your own in the hobby? Let me know. Show some pictures. I guess you can't do it on the comments, but let me know where I can find your page, or on Facebook if you got pictures of your pokies. I'd love to see them. And thanks for tuning in. Subscribe. Hit the like button. See you next time on a Military Radio podcast.